Hey everyone, welcome back to Task 1 Tuesdays, where we look at a brand new Task 1 question and I write a letter for you. So, without further ado, let's begin with this question that we have right here. This one is from this week, so it's really fresh, and you'll get a good idea of how to write a great letter in less than 20 minutes. So, yeah, let's get started. Last month, you had a holiday overseas where you stayed with a friend. He or she has just sent you some photos of your holiday. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, thank him or her for the photos and for the holiday. Explain why you didn't write earlier and invite them to come and stay with you. So, one of the most important things to keep in mind is you need to ensure that all the content is separate. So, anything that's related to bullet point 1 should be in body paragraph 1, bullet point 2, body paragraph 2, and so on. That seems kind of silly to point out, but a lot of people make that mistake, and I don't want you making that mistake, so keep that in mind. Right, now this is a friend, so you can start with, for example, Dear Alice, or any name really. Could be a man, could be a woman, doesn't really matter. Just put on any name. In fact, what I recommend for letter writing is have a surname of like 2 or 3 surnames in mind and have 2 or 3 first names in mind, so you can just use them without really having to think, oh, which name should I pick? Because again, there's no points for what kind of name you pick. There just has to be a name, because again, this is a friend, so this is somebody that you have a personal relationship with. Could be a friend, could be a family member, and those are always informal letters. So now when you write an informal letter, you don't have to start with something like, oh, I'm writing this letter to, or this letter is being written to you in order to, or something of that sort. People do that, however, which is wrong, which shouldn't be done. I see a lot of letters where people write things like, hope you're doing well, stuff like that. But it's a bit too dry, a bit too formulaic, I would say. Now, keep in mind that IELTS examiners see a lot of, answers. They see a lot of letters, essays. So they know the kinds of things that people generally tend to do. And to get a good score, ideally, you would kind of separate yourself from the bunch. I don't mean to say that you have to be rare or unique or anything like that, but you do have to set yourself apart from the crowd. That's just, kind of pushes you into a separate league, right? So don't do the usual thing, hey, long time no see, or haven't heard from you in a long time. And definitely don't say, I hope this email or I hope this letter finds you well, because it might seem like a nice thing to ask or say, but it's really very formal in style, so you want to avoid that. Instead, make it personal. What has happened so far? Here is the situation. Last month, you had a foreign holiday and you stayed with a friend, and they just sent you some pictures. In the first paragraph, they tell you that you have to thank this person for the pictures and for the holiday, right? Because they let you stay with them, probably showed you around the city or whichever place you went to. So, gratitude. So, they've just sent you some pictures, so you're thanking them for the pictures. And you could just start pretty directly when you write informally. You don't need any kind of hedging or anything like that. You can just drop right into the point. Imagine you're sitting and you get a notification on your phone, you received an email, you open up that email and it's full of your holiday pictures. That's gonna put a smile on anyone's face, right? So we could start with that. Wow, this was amazing. Wow, what an amazing email to get. Or wow, what an amazing they've sent you pictures. This is a letter, so you kind of have to remember it's not an email. I just made up the story so it would be kind of relevant, kind of put you in that mood. But it is a letter here in this case, so we do need to, keep that in mind. So, well, what an amazing thing to wake up to this morning. right? You just open up your door and you received a letter from your friend, and the envelope had all these pictures from your holiday. Amazing, is that not so? Yeah, you jump directly into it. Wow, what an amazing thing to wake up to this morning. I just got all the pictures that you sent me. And they're just amazing. Or I've already said amazing, so let's not repeat ourselves. I saw the pictures and they're just mind blowing. They're incredible. You're such a great photographer. Now that's 2 exclamation marks. Maybe that's a bit too much. So let's just tone it down just a little bit. We'll stop. You're such a great photographer. I'm really grateful. Grateful can be a little bit formal sounding, not exactly formal. So you can just say thanks a ton. Thanks a ton for all these photos. And of course, for letting me stay with you when I was in. You could mention any place, so it's really not important. When I was in Milan. Okay. So thanks a ton for all these photos, and of course for letting me stay with you and showing me around the city when I was in Milan. And there we go. Now we're going to check how many words this is, because you don't want to write something too big. The more you write, the more time you need. This is 57 words, so that's good enough. You don't need more than that. So let's move on to the next paragraph, which is explain why you didn't write earlier. Do you see a problem? If you look at the first sentence, wow, what an amazing thing to wake up to this morning. And then explain why you didn't write earlier. Well, that doesn't make sense, does it? So what that means is that I'm going to have to change what I wrote over here, because you have responded to them late. You didn't respond to them immediately. So now I'll have to change this. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense, because why would you explain why you didn't write to them earlier when you literally received, the pictures this morning, right? So you can just say, I just saw the pictures that you sent me, and I have just twice. It looks kind of odd, so we're going to change. I just saw the pictures that you sent me, and they're truly incredible. You are such a great photographer. Thanks a ton for all these photos, and of course for letting me stay with you and showing me around your city. That's a lot better. And your amazing city. We've already said incredible, great. Yeah, we can say amazing. And unforgettable experience. There we go. So let's check the word count now. This is good enough. We've thanked them. Okay, this is 52 words. Perfect. Then we'll go on, and now we're going to explain why we couldn't respond to them earlier. Why did we delay responding to them? And that's something that happens pretty frequently lately. So, it's very apt. Think about why. What happens normally is that you get caught up with something else. Maybe it's work, maybe it's family, maybe you have other reasons. Whatever it is, just pick the easiest thing. Just say, I had a ton of work. And when is that never true? That's almost always true. Don't think too much about what kind of situation should I cook up. Anything is fine. My pet was sick. I had too much work. I was sick. It could be anything. Unfortunately, almost as soon as I left Milan, I felt sick for a week and have just now begun to recuperate. That's a bit formal. We'll just say recover. Yeah, recuperate is not wrong. It's a great word, but it's a little bit more formal, and you are talking to a friend, so you wouldn't use formal vocabulary when talking to a friend. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Yes, you might think, oh, but I'm using this word that's like, so, it's at a higher level. Yes, that's true. But it's also important that you use the right vocabulary in the right context. A lot of people forget the context. A lot of people forget that the background is just as important. It's not like an exam where I show off my vocabulary. Hey, I know all these words. That's not the point. The point is not just to know words, but also to know when should I use this word? Is it appropriate to use this word or not? And that's really the actual skill. So unfortunately, almost as soon as I left Milan, I fell ill for a week and have just now begun to recover. Yeah, I received your mail. That's your letter, not email. Email is electronic. Mail is postal. So I received your mail the day after I came back to Perth, but I was unable to get to any of it. I was unable to really get to it until today. I wasn't even able to leave my bed. That's how sick I was. Thankfully, though, I'm much better now. I'm almost perfectly all right. So I'm almost much better now. There we go. You don't have to give too much detail because, again, it's just let's say you write a minimum of 45 words, not less than that, because then it's too small. But yeah, 50, 55, that's around, about how much you have to write. You don't need writing more does not mean that you get a higher score. This is already 64 words, so maybe I wasn't even really with my bed. But thankfully, you can say. But thankfully, I'm much better now. So I don't need though when I already have but. There we go. So now that's exactly how much you need. Not too much information, not too little information, just that comfortable middle ground, right? And the last thing you have to do is invite them to come and stay with you. I know that summer is soon approaching. That's usually when people go on holiday. Is soon approaching, and I think it would be. Now, you can use the full form it would be, which is not wrong, but again, it's an informal letter, so it's better if you use these types of short forms, contracted forms, it'd, I'll, wasn't, etc. I am. A lot of people will use full forms like was not, I am, it would, it is, and so on. Not wrong. Grammatically, it's fine, of course, but situationally, contextually, yeah, in terms of the background, like whom am I writing to, you have to keep that in mind as well. So I know that summer is soon approaching, and I think it would be a great idea if this time I could host you and show you around Perth, right? I could host you around Perth. You'd save a ton by not booking a hotel. Yeah, you'd save a ton of money. You can, of course, say ton of money, but even a ton is like, it's understood, it's implied that you mean money. So you'd save a ton or a ton of money by not booking a hotel, living with me. I have a spare room that's really comfortable. And I promise to be an amazing tour guide, and show you all the cool, unexplored places. There we go. So we're excited. We're, telling them essentially you'll have a fun time if you, come live with me. And that's also looks good enough. I don't necessarily have to check the word count to know that. But yeah, this is 65. Good enough. Maybe we could, if you wanted to, you could shorten it. I could host you in my spare room. You'd save a ton by not booking a hotel or Airbnb. With me, I have a spare room that's really comfortable, promise to be an amazing tour guide. There we go. You don't need all that information. And then at the end, a lot of people will write something like looking forward to hearing from you, which is not exactly wrong, but it's not ideal either for a good score to get a 7 or 8 or even 9. you really want to show that you've put some effort and some thought into it. So you're asking your friend to come, stay with you on holiday, right? So you're hoping to see them soon. Yeah. So maybe something like, can't wait to can't wait to, can't wait to see you soon. That's great. And normally this works fine. In most contexts, yeah, you could be writing to friends, to family, and you just end with can't wait to see you or can't wait to see you soon. These are great. I mean, they don't work 100% of the time, of course. It depends on the situation, why you're writing to them, so many possible factors. But this is generally good as long as you know that your letter has something about seeing them soon. And then you could have yours truly, yours lovingly as well. That also works perfectly fine. And you end with just the first name, okay? No last names, all right? So there you go, Mary. You don't have to add a surname. It's a friend, or even if it's a family member, you're on first name terms with people who are close to you. So what people sometimes do is they have, full names in informal letters, and that really doesn't make any sense. This whole thing is 182 words, which is just the perfect length. You don't need much more. You could have maybe a tiny bit less, but I think this much is kind of important to write just because you have all these bullet points that you, of course, have to fulfill requirements for. So that's our first paragraph. That's our second one, and that's our third one. And I hope you found this video helpful. We have tons more, not just for task 1, but also for task 2, and of course for speaking as well. And we come up with new videos every week, so don't forget to check out. And in case you're still struggling with IELTS preparation, don't worry, you have my number on the screen and you can call me and we can set up coaching for you as well. All right then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.